So let's begin. We will be speaking of future, but the things that are happening today, they also impact what is going to happen tomorrow. So my first question is about the customer in the post-COVID time. And of course, a huge change has happened to our customers over this time. We started to care for our health more. We learned to work remotely. We got new habits. We changed our habits in content consumption, and probably all of you can feel this. In the same way, in shopping or retail, our habits changed. We started to buy online more. And so, this is a question I would like to ask. The trend that is happening with all of us right now, how long term is this? According to your companies, will we have any rollback to our usual state, or is this the new normal with which we are going to continue? So my first question goes to Igor, who directly deals with customer experience and can share a lot on this topic. Yes, for sure, I will reveal all the mysteries. I like working at OLX because here we are discussing with the future of retail. We are not directly related to retail, but the audience that we have, it's the kind of audience that retail aims for, usual Ukrainians. And that's the interesting part of my work. When you work at OLX, you can see online what is happening with people without any special additional research, without any special analysis. We see life with people as it is. And when the first lockdowns started, it was quite clear by what people searched on OLX. It was food and also some domestic chemistry product. So people imagined it was the beginning of apocalypse. Then people were buying bikes, electric bikes, scooters, etc. That's because the transport was not available, public transport. Then there were some fires and people ordered ionizers, air cleansers, etc. Then some cookers because people started to take care of their cuisine more, then some fitness goods, then some laptops because people were getting ready for online study and online learning. So it was quite interesting. And your question is about the future of this trend. Well, actually, the current situation with OLX inquiries is not changing much. So over the last 10 days, people are buying firewood. Yeah, winter is coming. Cows on the 19th place in the ranking. 58,000 people were looking for cows. So yeah, we can see what's gonna happen tomorrow. People are thinking about their households. As for the things that are happening, well, what's happening now, I'd say, is irreversible. Even if we come back to normal life, even if we start working in offices, the structure of spending will remain the same, and this online adaptation was a huge leap forward. Any product that is being launched right now is starting from the internet population, which is at the top of the funnel. And the top of the funnel saw a huge increase. So previously it was like 55, 56% growth, but in the first and the second quarter of 2020, there was a 10% growth immediately. So there are almost 90% of people on the internet, and there is no rollback. So the adoption has happened, and right now there is some stability. And if we see the habits of online buying, I believe previously it was about 30% of people. Right now, there is 42%. And again, the behavior on the internet continues to change. People are adopting to online buying, and the structure of those online buyers is also changing. So if we study the share of people buying over 20 times per year, it's already 17%. So it's 17% of all the population that has access to the internet. So these are the trends in the behavior of users. And do I still have a minute? Okay. So many people are watching the trends, the benchmarks, the things that other companies are doing. But we also study the structure of users. We study the people we are going to work with in 5 to 7 years. It's necessary for long-term planning. So we understand that there are baby boomers, there is Generation X, Generation Y, etc. And Generation Z is the new generation that's going to have the majority of the money available. And the next generation, well, it's not going to spend their money anytime soon. So if we aim for Generation X and Y, you need to study the behavior of those customers, but mainly the behavior of the future generation. So there are some of the main jobs that need to be done by online retailers is continuous development, mobility, also these people see that they do not need much money, but they want to have enough money for everything they want, and everything needs to be available instantly. So people also want to earn without being connected to any employer for any long time. So again, these are some hints which you can learn about your audiences as well. You can check what young people need and try to capitalize on that. And one more trend is a transition from owning to using. So instead of buying, people want to use. And again, that's an insight for future business models. Thank you. Sergey, I would like to ask you to continue. You are seeing lots of goods, lots of categories. Are you noticing any change in the behavior of users? Hotline service is intended to help people buy new physical products. We have a slightly different audience, different from OLX, and I was surprised too. I saw that this COVID-19 wave, it has left. I mean, there was some temporary increase in buying, but it subsided later and it did not impact our market much because the habit of buying online it started taking root even before COVID-19. So I would not exaggerate the importance of this COVID-19 stage. Not much has changed. As for the B2C market, the sales of new products, for instance, the fashion market, of which Andrei can tell more. But as for all the rest, there is a stagnation on the Ukrainian market. So maybe that's not exactly in line with the general mood of our today's forum, but there is a concern to which you need to understand that the Ukrainian market is quite conservative. It is dependent on the political and macroeconomic situation in the country. For instance, we are tracking top 15 major online retailers as reference websites. Over the last year, the audience of those websites in total has decreased by 8%. Of course, do study the market, but please be careful because at Hotline we discovered many times that Ukrainian buyers are quite conservative, even the generation that. Thank you. Vitaly, my next question goes to you because what we are observing here, uh, we see that the buyers are more careful with their finances. They are saving money, they are thinking about additional income, financial literacy, etc. So, are you utilizing this trend in your company? Have you increased your customer base? Have you increased the number of physical persons investing in your company? So, uh, as for the general image of the customer in the financial sector, has it changed after COVID? For sure, yes. We can see that customers have a totally different attitude to online buying. So the possibility of online payments with a bank card, it's already a must-have for retailers. So those players who did not have this before, they are lagging behind very seriously. As for the financial sector, the customer is becoming more demanding. The customer does not want to spend a lot of time on, for instance, money transfers, placement of money with different financial tools. They want to have convenient mobile apps where everything will be available in one click. It will be possible to buy something, to transfer money, to invest money, and all of that depends on the infrastructure that is provided by the bank or a broker or any other financial market player. We noticed this trend in the very beginning of 2020, even before the pandemic per se. We could see the increase of small-scale customers, and we realize that we need to introduce remote verification. We need to introduce convenient service for refill of broker account, fast access to the tools that the customer wants to get. So in 2020, we transformed our platform a lot. We intended to simplify those procedures as much as possible. We are still working on that, but thanks to that, we are seeing thousands of new accounts, sometimes per day. It takes minutes to open an account and to get the services the customer wants to get. Thank you. My uh, I have a comment, or I would like to discuss something. So I heard from Sergei that there is no surge in the market, and there is even some rollback. But in the research we did, we see that the response of the audience and there is an increase of those who have not bought before but who are buying now is higher. Yeah, maybe they are buying other kinds of goods. So it's difficult to tell. Maybe they're buying more food or medicines, etc. But any good scientific research of all the retail with fashion, B2C, C2C products, etc., etc., I am not aware of any such research. And every time we are facing very low quality of research. We cannot trust the numbers. So uh, I'm saying that on the online retail market, the number of buying is not increasing and the competition is increasing, and there is 1.5 increase of the cost of getting a new customer. So we can see a much higher competition for the customer. So I do not believe that there is any serious boom in the market because there is such an increase in competition and there is a much higher cost of acquiring a new customer, which gives us a hint that the number of the buyers is not increasing. I'm Nadiia from Goodwine. We work with premium alcohol and food products. So our online business over the pandemic has grown 2 times, but after the end of the lockdown, we saw a 40% rollback. Also, we had an interesting case about the growth of the audience. We saw the increase of the older audience, and our back office was assisting the businesses as much as they could, and the future belongs to the companies that can adapt quickly. So our adaptation was the increase of the effort in customer service. The physical retail shops were closed for some time, and we had all of us worked for customer service, even me. So we could get a phone call from a granny who doesn't know how to use the browser, how to use chat, etc. So much of the time we worked on that, but gradually we noticed that even these older customers uh, are learning, and maybe thanks to their family members. But we can see that sometimes these older people are ordering very expensive wines and expensive caviar, etc. So they're quite hedonistic. I will add briefly. To assess the place we are at, we also should consider the experience of other countries who have been through that already. This gives us the impression of how active we are in moving forward. And actually, we are at the very beginning of e-commerce. There is only 6 to 18% of its penetration right now. But in South Korea, for instance, we could see the peak numbers of 60%. So can you imagine this? 60% of all the goods that are sold online. So these numbers show us that we are in the very beginning of this journey. And there is a good story about Jeff Bezos when he was asked how he begins a project, how he watches the trend, and he responded that they watch 5 years ahead, and there are three different things that we are noticing. So the customers want a broader selection of goods, they want lower prices, and they want good service, like quick delivery. So, for instance, on Amazon, 20% of goods are delivered on the very next day. And you understand how high is the quality of that service. In Ukraine, it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning of the situation when all the adult population is going to buy online, and we are only arriving at this stage of competition. That's great. So there is a huge potential for growth for everyone. So coming back to offline, I have a question to Dmitry. one of the trends that we are noticing in retail is that people are missing the emotional shopping, maybe because of the lockdown or anything else. They lack emotions, and Serhii is probably the kind of brand that works in the field of entertainment, so to speak. You have interactive experience in your shops, you have wonderful design, you have your festivals, etc. So do you believe offline is important in our life, and if yes, how important are emotions for the love and loyalty to the brand? I also have a few words about online, but if you are speaking of experience already, um, we found this by accident, maybe 5, 6, or 7 years ago, that experience is a very important part of buying, a very important part for every human. So yes, there is some good or service that is being sold, but there should be some joy in all of this. And we have started this story with designer stores, etc. And gradually we realized that it's described in the books already. It's experience economy, it's the next offer for the people, so commodities, goods, service, and then goes experience. And it's not only about the looks, it's also in the training, it's also in the entertainment. And so we are watching this experience story for quite a long time, creating a new experience for people, including offline experience. And we are also trying to do that online as well. That's one of the main tasks for us today. Not just making yet another online store with delivery, but to make the online experience as fascinating as we have learned to make it offline. And it's difficult. So you, for instance, have seen probably our smakoversniks, the ones traveling on electric scooters around the city, dressed in some fantasy suits. So that's a part of our contact with our guests. So online, we would also like to add some interesting experience, to add some exciting forms, something exciting taken from the offline. So it's quite interesting because it seems you are given more to your stores in comparison with other retailers. So can you see any impact on the business results? Well, this is a kind of increase in comparison with this major part. Of course, it seems that it's complicated. It seems that all the stores need to be the same, just they have used to be, like hospitals. And the idea previously was to build as many stores as possible. It seemed that it was impossible to build a store that is slightly new and has a new experience, but we got used to that, and we got used to making designer stores. Okay, so I'm going to become your ambassador. So my next question is about the unique atmosphere, unique customer experience, unique selection of goods. So how are you managing to do that? I have a question, by the way, to the audience. What is the key part of you, the key part of what makes the atmosphere in the retail? People, okay. Smiling salespeople, emotions, buying without problems. Okay, so yeah, these are my statements as of today. You can look it up, and I believe that the future of retail belongs to the companies which are digital mature retail with great customer experience. So it has to be omni-channel retail with wonderful customer experience. So someone has said, people, okay, it's quite simple, but let me tell you why. When I had negotiations with a major Belgian brand, a chocolate brand, and they sent me a 40-page script. So have you ever read such scripts for the personal? Yeah, there were instructions how to greet the customers and what to do if the customers wants to uh, taste two candies instead of one, and it's only permitted to taste one. So we work in a different way. Actually, we work through metaphors. We practice our values. We practice what we preach, so to speak. Just like what the priest is saying in the church, they should practice it. In the same way, we intend to have happy team members, happy customers, and also happy partners. There is no script, there is a metaphor. We are wonderful specialists within our field of expertise, and our metaphor is also simple. We are selling something that our children will eat at home. We are selling the product we trust. So the first metaphor we have, that's something we would like to give our children at home. The second metaphor is about the trend of micro expertise. Each of us has something we are experts in. So, for instance, let's take coffee. 10 years ago, we would buy a Nescafe or buy some random product, but right now you know all the brands of the coffee, you know about the anaerobic fermentation, you have equipment at home. So we are bringing together the expert on the part of the company and the expert on the part of the customer. So this is what moves the market forward. Our employees are experts. So for instance, in our home delivery service, we have nutrition specialists, we have cooks, we have people who are ready to provide information to you on whatever subject you need. Also, every department of our company is an internal mini business. So, if you know the OKR methodology, one of the features of it is that there is top to down and down to top goals, and everyone can have an impact on the development of the company. Our people are experts, and they work as private entrepreneurs. They are responsible for the sales in their department, for the margins, etc. They have resources. They can travel. For instance, one of our colleagues has went to San Francisco, and for a month she was learning the art of bakery. And then she came back to Kiev and opened our bakehouse. And if you have been to Goodwine, you probably know our wonderful bakeries. So those who wants to learn can learn with us. Those who wants to develop can develop with us. And also we support the idea of giving shares to the employees. We have a dream, and in 2 years we will have the first pool of those who are going to get the first shares. 200 people who have worked over 5 years. So I believe it's unprecedented for the retail market in Ukraine. So people are our main asset. Andriy, did you want to add anything? Yes, yes. I'm, of course, a big fan of Goodwine Company. I support the ideas of the emotions and the service, but the statistics show that if you want to win, there is no element of emotion in your uh, offer that is meaningful. Do you know the biggest marketplace on the internet by number of daily buyers? In the second quarter of 2021, Amazon has become the greatest in Ukraine. In the United States, everyone thought that Alibaba is probably bigger, but actually it's not even Alibaba. Pinduoduo is the largest company, uh, uh, which has 70% of goods that are fake or of lowest quality. They have terrible customer service. At 6 years ago, they didn't exist, but they have a higher number of buyers than Alibaba right now. I like Goodwine. I'm the ambassador of Goodwine, but speaking of the wins in retails, price goes first. Yes, so would you choose ATB or Silpo? Yeah, I'm also a fan of Goodwine. And indeed, I envy Nadia. So you are being recorded, do you know that? Yes, yes, I know that. So it's great, actually. I envy you because I believe that this kind of story is difficult to scale, but please take care of it because with 350 stores, it's still possible, but for us, not really. And as for the price, it all depends on the development of the market. At a certain stage, discounters would win, but at another stage, they wouldn't. So, for instance, on the traditional market, for instance, in Germany, Aldi was a good for nothing store 20 years ago, but right now it's some entirely different service. Yeah, but for instance, in 2016, Alibaba was dominating in China, and you can you even imagine um, someone having a business plan to win over Alibaba, and yet they succeeded. So there are factors that can transform even such markets as China, which for us looks as some new sport club. Yeah, I do agree. The price is a decisive factor, but there are always some niches. There are some unlinear factors in the development of the market. So, of course, having better prices is a good factor for the success on the market. It's a good factor for the entry, but at a certain point, you should differentiate yourself somehow. Okay, let's continue this conversation. Um, we discussed last minute delivery during the preparation for this event, so it's important how quickly can the buyer get their product. So 2 or 3 years ago, we could order something from the online store and we could wait for a week. But right now, if they are not bringing the good in just a day, we can already leave some bad comment on the internet. So let's discuss this trend. Let's discuss the importance of having quick and high quality delivery for an online store, and it's if it's important to have your own delivery, or is it possible to use some external service? Well, the quick answer is that it depends on the category. So there's electronic, fashion, food, furniture, and construction. So the expectations are different in each of the categories. As for the speed, I've been in the e-commerce business for 10 years, and I'm always thinking, what is the threshold for delivery? We started at 2 weeks, and it was okay with our customers. I was quite surprised, but yeah, people could wait for 14 days, and they would only write to us on the 15th day if we failed to deliver. But then overnights and over lunch delivery appeared, and right now the sexiest e-commerce delivery is being able to deliver within 15 minutes. So right now there are uh, uh, many companies that are losing their unicorn positions because someone can deliver in 10 or 15 minutes. Someone could deliver if the product was ordered in the beginning of our conversation. So, of course, for the food, fast delivery is very important, but for construction materials, maybe it's less important. So, in the beginning, I believe that I will be dealing with code. I'm an IT person. I wanted to see the future. I wanted to develop some services based on what I hear from the product manager. And well, unfortunately, this doesn't work this way because all the value chain has to be brought together. The expectations of the customer are increasing with each coming day. The customer wants to have a better choice, better price. They understand their possibility of influence through social media. So there is no end to this growth of expectations. We cannot bring different pieces together and call this e-commerce because we will always get those comments about the behavior and look of the people we work with, even if these are not our employees, even if it's some external service. So at some point we realize that we need to control the entire value chain, and we have built our own delivery service, our own payment service, and this is the only factor that lets us develop dynamically. But do you cost cheaper than others? Well, actually, Nova Poshta has set such a benchmark on the market that whatever you do, you still can deliver cheaper. So I sincerely believe that Nova Poshta gave birth to the Ukrainian e-commerce, but I also understand that there are huge challenges before that company because different categories of customers have different expectations. So Glovo, for instance, is better suitable for delivery of food. Nova Poshta does not deliver that. Also, Nova Poshta does not have opportunity to return the money quickly. So once again, Nova Poshta is the face of Ukrainian delivery, but also I understand that that there should be some evolution of quality if there is evolution of price. And the same is true for Apple cell phones. So again, when we think of online stores, we sometimes think of just connecting delivery from some external service, but delivery is a part of the experience, and every major online selling platform is creating their own delivery service. Again, yes, we have some partnerships. We have a big partnership project with Ukrposhta, the Ukrainian National Post Service, and we will show next year how this small school company can be changed into a modern IT company. Yes, you will be surprised at what you will see in the post offices. I believe the market will be surprised at what is possible to build together with such big old school companies. Okay, Dmitry, I have another question to you. You were the ones who opened their delivery service during the lockdown, and it's possible to deliver within 40 minutes or within a day. So was it the pandemic that prompted this change? And one more question from Alexandra from the UK company. Do you see any risk from the increased competition from such companies as Glovo, who also deliver food, and they deliver the food fast? Well, question one, we planned to launch our delivery by the end of 2020. Well, we had to do it faster in April 2020. We were just kicked into that by the circumstances. There were different offers, different formats available. Yeah, but it was also quite simple to recruit. No, it was difficult. It was very difficult because if you have a successful online retail business and then suddenly you have an entirely change in situation, an entirely different set of requirements for logistics, for interaction with the customers, an entirely different situation with this delivery experience. So it's very, very difficult, logistically speaking, to deliver fast. Glovo are very good, but before their people get to the store, find the product, and bring the product to you, it takes time. And if we want to deliver under 10, 15, or 20 minutes, you should count those minutes. And so, for instance, if a person needs to find 5 goods in the huge store, and the person needs to pack them and to get to the place they have never been to before. And yes, there are also traffic jams, and all of this becomes a complex logistical task. We are doing our best to solve this task with our own efforts, because otherwise no one will be able to solve this question for us. So thank you for answering my question, and I have one more. What is the percentage of the total number of products you sell, the products that you deliver on your own? Well, it's quite low, and the numbers don't matter much because, of course, in Kiev and in other cities, the situation with delivery is entirely different. So in every city, we have planned delivery within a day. In 50 cities, we have express delivery under 40 minutes, which is already a huge advantage. But sometimes there is a possibility to deliver even faster. But as of now, it is under 5%, but it's still a good result to being able to make this in just a year. In the stores, sometimes we could see the number of those pickers who is the higher than the number of regular guests. Okay, so there is this idea of having partnerships with delivery services. So yes, in our business model, we do not sell anything. We are not a retailer. We are a platform where people sell and people buy. So our idea is how to make this experience of buying in the C2C sector, how to make it look exactly the same as buying from a regular big store. And previously, people had the scary practices of meeting somewhere at the metro station and sending each other some money, etc. But we solved this issue 5 years ago, or maybe more, 6 years ago, and we solved this issue through partnership. Back in the day, Nova Poshta has gave a huge push to e-commerce in our country in comparison with other countries. So we partnered with Nova Poshta, we partnered with financial services, and we arranged escrow payments, which enables the same security and quality of delivery as if you were buying from a regular store. So this was what we managed to do through the partnership, and I do agree that the apples need to become tastier, and indeed, our idea was to increase adoption. People understand that they are protected if they use Alex delivery. We do not deliver any animals or any um, buildings, so we deliver regular products. We understand that price is the main barrier. We realize that we need to use other partners such as Ukrposhta and Justin. We can see that Ukrainians respond quite well to the reduction of prices, but also now Ukrainians strive for getting their goods faster. And again, this becomes a huge competitive advantage. Our company is present in many countries: Poland, Romania, Portugal, Bulgaria, and in some of them on the last year, this same idea that we have had for years has been introduced. So I'm speaking of C2C experience. Of course, we for now cannot build the kind of delivery that our colleagues managed to build, but we still see some competition. We see that we have a big list of delivery partners, and I believe that this is a good trend for the future, the trend that will improve the prices and the timing of delivery. Okay, the same question to Serhii. I use Hotline. I know that once we are checking the prices and delivery time, it's possible to select something cheaper but with longer delivery, and we can select something more expensive but with faster delivery. So what is your perception of the percentage of those buyers? Well, it depends. As Andrei has mentioned already, the demands for delivery, they depend strongly on the category of goods, but also they depend on the psychological type of the buyer. So it depends on the kind of business you are doing in the online retail, and therefore you have to know your customers very well, because people who buy wine, well, they also differ, but let's say people who are buying wine are different from people who are buying fashion. I'm not sure that everyone will want to use Ukrposhta offices um, to check their products and try them on. So there are lots of online and offline businesses which want to catch on with those trends of fast delivery, let's say, but it turns out that this is something they don't want to have. So previously it was possible to buy a car in the premium segment very easily. You could just walk in and buy your car right now. And right now it takes 4 months to deliver a premium class car. So it's a high demand product right now. So it does not fit with this idea of delivery within 10 minutes. So the customers are very different. Of course, it's a difficult job for marketplaces to catch up with everyone. Of course, they have to um, be suitable for every type of person, and it's very difficult for people like us who want to be universal, people who want to be good for everyone. It's difficult. We tried to work with Goodwine, but we failed. So each retail is different in a way. Hotline has some failure cases with fashion, with food products. We failed with Hotline checkout, which was an escrow payment project, but we had to close this project down after 6 years of trials. So that's also an interesting story, so please be careful with things that are just popular. Yeah, I would to continue Sergei's idea. We studied many Q-commerce cases. Indeed, some people want to deliver within 19 minutes, 25 minutes, but quite often the buyer doesn't know how expensive that is for the retailers. 15 minutes is very important for people who are buying food and who want to eat right now. But the first thing that is important for us is predictability. So if the person has defined some slot and is sure that this product will be delivered exactly then. So the second important part here is laziness. We want to have delivery with one click. So the future belongs to the one who invents Monobank or Uber or whatever, but in the field of online retail. Also, we want to avoid interactions with people. We don't want to know how this is happening, but we want the product to be at our doors at a certain time. And also, let's recall the time we had before Uber. You had to make a phone call at 6 a.m. and then the car would come in some time and you would go outside and try to look for it. So that was the pain of point. The point of pain, and you want to be able to predict and see what is happening to your product. You need to be able to see it in your application, that you need to have the minimum of interactions because of the good. Yes, and speaking of the things that Nadezhda is mentioning, there is a huge wave of interest to the post machines. People do not want to talk to any physical delivery person, so Nova Poshta and Mist Express have up to 1,000 post machines each, and it actually costs cheaper than to have a physical courier. Yes. Once again, let I will sound slightly different from everyone, but I want to mention about the speed. So if a person is ordering some kind of product from us, she is ordering from 4 different retailers, just in case, and the one who delivers faster wins. So it's great that new experiences are being created by Uber, by Amazon, but yeah, once we show the person how the courier is traveling, uh, it's quite complicated because they deliver to many people, and our customer does not want to see all of that. Yes, but let's say you have ordered some lipstick, and the courier is making 120 stops per day. It's not interesting for the person who is buying. Uh, it's great to have predictability, but say the lipstick has to be there in 15 minutes. So again, it depends strongly on the kind of product the person is buying. If it is a bottle of wine or a lipstick or the construction material, of course, the situation is very different. Yeah, you can deliver wine together with lipstick. Okay, so one more story about speed. So, for instance, if the person is ordering a cell phone, how quickly can it be delivered? Within a day, or preferably right now? Well, to my mind, the most important part is predictability. So, when it's some electronic equipment, it's important for me to have it delivered when I can receive it. Yeah, predictability is, of course, a demand of a good customer who can predict where they will be, but I sincerely don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow at 6 p.m. Yeah, then you have to pay more. Aha, you have to have a faster delivery, but you don't have to pay. So if we do not deliver fast and cheap, it's our problem, not the problem of our guest. So 3 days ago, I talked to people who are buying cell phones online. So I asked them this question. How are you doing? You are going to a physical store, you are checking the phone offline, and then you are buying the product online. Where do you buy it? We buy it at Rosetka because it delivers faster. Well, that's because a person needs a cell phone once they have broken their previous one, and they need it immediately. So, once again, construction products, yeah, may have some delays, but with everything else, it needs to be delivered fast. Yeah, you probably misheard me because I have said that there should be fast delivery with exact time slot. The service has to be as easy to use as Apple Pay, and of course, a person needs to be able to pick what matters to them most, depending of if they are a money saver or time saver. So savers are people for whom time is the most important resource, and they want to have they want to get all the boring things fast, and all the sexy things they want to get with a good experience. So I support the idea of differentiating the experience for different customers and different groups of products. So we got lots of questions from the floor, so we will have to skip part of our discussion. But just one more question from me. What is going to happen within forthcoming 10 days? What do you envision? Because some new technological models are emerging and they change the world entirely. So let us fantasize, let us try to think of what can change the world we live in. Vitaly? As for the financial sector, we will see the survival and development in the companies that can deliver the full spectrum of financial services to their customers. We could see that on the American market, there is no bank that delivers traditional banking services only. It's a mixture between a bank and a broker and, let's say, some social security fund. So we are seeing some development in the same direction, and we can see some future behind that. So the player who is able to provide access to all the services the customer needs from a single access point, let's say payments, investing, buying stocks, etc. Such a company can win. And we could see that success story in Monobank and Privatbank. Previously, people said that okay, Privatbank is a dinosaur and no one can become better. But with the one-click service, Monobank was able to change the entire industry. So the future is about breaking the borders and having a single point access to everything the customer needs. So, okay, let's continue about the future and changing rules. Okay, I will exaggerate a bit. You probably remember in the movie Fifth Element how Bruce Willis ordered the food and it was delivered right to his window. A colleague of mine has been to China recently, and his friend had WeChat. So they approached the container, they scanned the code, and it turned out to be something much like Amazon Fresh or Amazon Go. So there is a set of names they use, but it was a store without salespersons, without cashiers. It was just a container of products. You pick your products and you have to pay for them or leave them. So it's an exaggerated example, but it was actually Ashan. So my question was, why do they use a container? Well, the answer was quite simple. They have the rent for limited time, and once the agreement expires, that a truck would come and bring the container to a different place. So in the future, there will be different options. People will find what is suitable to them. Someone will be able to order with a drone and it will be delivered right to the window. But overall, I believe we are going to use a hybrid system. Previously, we had a push approach in the supply chain. The manufacturer produced something and the stores they had to sell that. But today, more power belongs to the customer because with our money, with our social media, we define what we are going to buy. And now you have much more choice. You can choose the parts your product will be consistent of. So I've worked for my company for 15 years. We have thousands of companies we worked with. I talked to practically all the brands we work with, and it was always surprising. I talked to supplier in the field of cosmetics, and I asked about their second distributors. Um, uh, uh, and I heard the name of a girl, and it was a person on the Instagram, and I thought it was just a blogger, but actually, no, it's just one person on the Instagram who is able to um, keep the Ukrainian market within the top 5 countries that company is working with. So you can be the retail. You do not need a retail company anymore. So the future belongs to different segments, different kinds of supply chains, different kinds of delivery services, and it is great because each customers is able to find their own Apple Pay in the field they want to buy from. Yeah, I would like to tell a couple of words about drones. I read a lot of interesting things. So, since I am in the delivery business, actually drones have been available for quite some time already. And technically, this problem was solved back in 2015. Right now, there is no limitation for the delivery of 50,000 key products. The only problems that exists, it's the problem of aesthetics and the problems of safety and security. That's because no one will like to see 1 billion products in the air. No one wants to have the hackers breaking the drones. So everything that Amazon managed to do is to film an ad in some county like 5 years ago, and that's basically it. So there are no technical limitations right now. The limitations are about safety and security, and also in our country we have a specific situation with the war. So I do not foresee in the nearest future the delivery with drones. If you can deliver apples to someone's home, you can deliver other things as well. And we, all of us, are fighting for the customer. They have 16 hours in a day where we can get a piece of their attention. We understand that we can monetize those assets through sales or through advertising. And previously, we could see different blocks in the e-commerce. In 2010, when we started, there were models of price comparison, of auctions, eBay. You remember, for instance, but we are laughing at them. So there were auctions, there were classified platforms, price comparisons. Right now, all of that became a marketplace. So there is a buyer, a seller, and an influencer. The person who can bring together an audience and recommend something, that person becomes objectively very powerful. In China, there is a huge number of such influencers. There are girls who can sell products for $10,000 per hour, and in the nearest 5 years, everyone who is able to hold attention is going to become a marketplace. So if you can sell sunflower seeds, you also can sell something else. Previously, it was said that OLX is a wonderful business model and this model cannot be repeated, but right now we see that Instagram is taken over this business model, and then within 8 months TikTok was able to take away all of the younger population from Instagram. So the law is quite simple. Everyone who can hold attention is going to sell, and everyone who is selling will do their best to hold attention, just like Amazon is doing. There are some unique business models of people trying to make a film and on their way to sell shoes. So again, no matter who you are, within the next 5 years, the times will be difficult for you. Dmitry? Yeah, I do agree with those trends. I'm not sure that this will happen within 5 years, but in 100 years, you will not have to do anything. You will just think, and everything will be done for you. So okay. Um, so let's come to our questions. We have lots of those. And okay, in this room we have representatives of BMW who do not agree with Sergei. You can buy a car right now, and you can select a car online. Second question here. Okay, so they will probably sell more cars today. Okay, Andrei, what do you think about social shopping? Is it a main driver of growth? I believe this will be a necessary attribute of every marketplace within the next 5 years. There is a concept of prosumer, the one who is a consumer and who is also a seller. Pinduoduo has not invented live shopper. Taobao has invented it long ago. But speaking of emotions that the customer wants to get, it's very simple and it's actually great. Also, Alan Spiegel has created the mechanics of stories. It was later reproduced by Zuckerberg, and now we can find this even in banking applications. Live shopping, stories, likes, all of this is making its way to banking applications. All of those mechanisms, everything that can hold attention of the person and to get person involved. All of this will be selling. Okay. Diana will probably approve what Dmitry is saying. So she's in e-commerce for a year, and quite often she hears that the customer is finding something cheaper, and that's why they are canceling their order. So this shows that customers are becoming more demanding. Another question is, if the product is not unique, how can we fight with the situation of people selling even cheaper than we do? So, is there any response? Well, I gave this example of a story. I think that Evan Spiegel, who has created Snapchat, who is creating the main mechanics, and those mechanics are then copied by Zuckerberg overnight. So at all the panels his wife is attending, she is telling that Zuckerberg has taken away all that my husband has invented. So in our world, it's difficult to hide something that you have invented. And according to Spiegel himself, you just need to create faster than someone is able to steal from you. And it really takes a long time to copy a really unique thing. I really adore this guy. He is unique. Please follow him. I like such people who are able to create something despite of the billions of companies beside them, but they just emerge, they just create something, and they create companies that cost hundreds of $1 million. So according to Spiegel, if you have to learn a lot, you need to have a technological advantage or a monopoly. And technologically speaking, we can create things much faster than big companies. No matter if it is a digital product or a physical product, I believe that copying can be overcome only with the speed of inventing new products. There are some funny comments, therefore I'm laughing. I will read them in the end to make everyone smile. A question to Dmitry. how important is to have high quality consultation in the supermarket. Quite often in Silpo I do not see any people anymore, people who could provide consultations. Do you have any plans of decreasing them even more? Well, we strive for inspiring self-service. It sounds weird, but economically speaking, it does make sense. It's always expensive to keep people there. It's even more expensive to keep good people, those who can consult professionally. It's a huge work, and we do intend to have many things available in the self-service, but we will always have our salespeople and consultants. That's a part of experience we bring to our customers. A question to Serhii. What do you see the future in the sales of insurance products? Well, that's a separate service we have on Hotline Finance. We compare different kinds of insurance policies for different types of assets. We strive for covering all other needs in terms of insurance. So for the nearest product we want to introduce is car insurance, and I truly hope this will be a wow product. You will not need to travel everywhere. So Saga insurance is already available, but Kasta insurance is not available yet. And also we want to have life insurance, property insurance online. We want to uh, introduce all other insurance products online so that they are available on your mobile app, and we want you to be able to use this app in any uh, insurance case. Once you are worried, once you are upset with the situation, the app will take you through all of those steps of making all the necessary photos, calling all the necessary people, etc. So yeah, online insurance is always a good thing that helps me when I'm traveling, because I forget to buy insurance. Yeah, initially there were problems with online insurance. The customer had to wait for more than a day, but we were able to do that, and now it's possible to buy insurance in the airport, and it will be already available once you arrive. Okay, Andriy, a question to you. What product is the most popular in terms of clothes? The cheapest ones are the most possible. The answer is simple. So, for instance, in Russia, there is a Wildberries company, and they have a higher number of customers than Nova Poshta, and their average check is $16, but at Pinduoduo, the average check is $3. So, yeah, $3 is the price of a dress for a woman. So if you are selling for $500, you are already in the luxury segment. There is another company, AliExpress, and in Ukraine they have about 50,000 orders per day. They have quite often free delivery, and their average check is $8 to $9. So my colleague has ordered a film for mobile, and she got free delivery. Yes, and also 40% of sales on AliExpress, it's closes. So again, if you want to predict the future, you can check the luxury sector and make it cheaper. But there is the statistics that people are spending 10 to 18% of their money for their clothes, and if the family budget is $500, you can make the math. people cannot spend much, and in Ukraine, luxury clothes products are not popular at all. There is a good story. We had Alexei Kavitsky at the third floor, and I watched the development of England Merlin, and the average check is about 14,000 hryvnias, but they have about 30 orders per day, and the delivery takes about 3 hours. And the process is usually going this way. The courier will bring the product, the girl will put it on, take the photos, and if she gets likes on the Instagram, then she buys it. But it's very difficult to reproduce that. So, speaking of the development of the market, um, the digitalization is going to be happening, but unfortunately, we will still have to have all those managers and consultants because the customer wants to have their issues solved fast, whether they are transferring money or investing, etc. But they also want to be able to talk to a real expert and to hear the expert's opinion. So just like in the stores, it's necessary to have a qualified salesperson. We can also see the development only through the network. And we have one of the largest networks in Ukraine, and we will even broaden it in the future. Resale or e-commerce, what will be more popular in fashion within the next 10 years? Okay, so do you know about the percentage of used products on Amazon right now? 40%? No, 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 not 40% because they are selling new things, yeah. But Amazon is selling used clothes already. And my idea is the humanity is arriving at conscious consumption. Okay, but there is no sense in not offering your customers to sell the clothes or to let them try on the clothes that are already sold. So there is a huge number of clothes that are available in the closets of our customers. So the marketplaces will have this functionality, and maybe that's a problem for the future of OLX. So I'm not sure what is going to increase faster, the sales of new products or used products. But judging from the target audience and its demands for the next 5 to 7 years, we will see that there is a transition from owning to using. And right now, there is a certain percentage of users who have barriers before that. But there is a demand for better value for the same money. People are thinking what they are paying for. For instance, it's great to have a low average check. Of course, it brings lots of orders, but people want to get more for their money. And one of the ways to do that is, first of all, to buy some used things together with new things. The second part is to use something temporarily. And again, a rental of clothes, that's another area of development. It's too complicated right now, but it's difficult even to think for the person who has lots of clothes how she could rent them out. But there will be some way for that in the future. There will be some Uber for that. Okay, there is one question about that. Yeah. So one more thing that also can be done. People want to get more value for their money. People want more ways to get that value, and people want to monetize on the things that they own. Maybe not clothes first, but in general, sharing economy is based on being able to use the assets that are underused, and all the things that people do not use, they want to sell or rent out. So there are sell it for me and cash it for me business models. Was there any comment? Yeah, I just wanted to say that reuse of clothes operationally would make a huge challenge. Rent a Runway is the leader in this model, but it's very, very, very complicated. Just as food is complicated, because Jeff Bezos has been speaking of this for 20 years. It's a wise person with money, but Amazon is not able to do anything with food. At some point, we talked to their product managers, etc. So, for instance, Amazon Prime Wardrobe, Amazon Go, so for clothes and food, respectively. There were very serious operational things, but for now they have not found the answers for their questions. Right now, many such things look unrealistically, but maybe this will be some other company, maybe not exactly Amazon, but someone will manage to do it, just like Uber did something that people could not do before. Okay, a question to Andriy. How do you minimize the number of clothes returned? 75% of those returns is in the field of jeans. In the luxury segment, which is everything that is above 10,000 hryvnias. And the idea is people do not know how expensive those things are. Sometimes, let's say in Western Ukraine, a person would order 10 different pieces of clothes, and their girlfriend needs to pick one. So, in terms of logistics, it's a huge pain for e-commerce. We were working with this for over 10 years, and we realized we cannot get rid of it. Previously, we thought this was a problem that we need to somehow punish our customers, but no. We looked at the statistics, we realized that we cannot fight that. We looked at the statistics of other people, and we realized that we are not the only ones who have this pain. So fortunately, we only have 14 days for return. But in Germany, they have 365 days, and it becomes sharing economy, so someone can wear some clothes for a year and still return them. So we do our best to explain to the customers that they need to be responsible, but it's still a challenge we should live with, and there should be this experience when the person is able to order 5 t-shirts once they have money only for 3 t-shirts. It costs a lot to build this model, but it helps to win the person over, and the person will be coming back, especially in the conditions when it is becoming increasingly more expensive to get new customers. we need to focus on those loyalty elements. So you need to be able to order everything to get all of those products tomorrow. And yeah, okay, I will try that. So we have the last 20 seconds. Could you please, everyone, say one phrase about the future of retail? There is one phrase I heard 2 months ago. Your business is as successful as you're able to talk about the customer on your internal meeting. I have a quote from Jeff Bezos. He tells that at every meeting there should be one empty table, and the table represents the customer. I did not get ready for that, but my favorite phrase, love life and it will love you back. So please do not be afraid of the future, do not be afraid of the competition. Love what you are doing and the life will love you back. Right now, there are lots of technologies available, and whatever you want to do right now is technologically possible. So you have to want for something, and everything will be great. I have a linguistic comment. Please do not use such words as customer. Call them guests. It's a much better emotionally loaded word. Yeah, and of course, if the guest is coming your way, you have to treat them well. Yeah, of course. You have to understand the needs of your customer, and you will win over their heart. Okay, thank you, our speakers. It was great. It was so interesting. Thank you, dear moderator. If everyone has questions, we will be hanging out here for some time, so please use this opportunity.